When I was in Peru, we went through a period when the Sendero Luminoso, the shining path, was in ascendancy. And this was a Maoist communist group. Their idea was that if they could make the poor peasants, the poor campesinos, revolt, then they would be able to take over Peru. So they concentrated on the campesinos, trying to make them hate the government and hate the missionaries, hate anyone who was positively influencing them. We had to close the soup kitchens because you couldn't feed the poor because that was helping them, and you would be bombed. We managed to find other ways to help them, but basically it was a very vicious, very cruel movement. And friends of mine were martyrs. I have to laugh. One time I was listening to a sermon, and the priest was talking about early Roman martyrs. And he talked in a way that made you think that that hadn't happened since, that was the last martyrs that we had. And I kept restraining myself from putting up my hand saying, hey, I personally know some martyrs. I do. There were 2 priests in the Diocese of Chimbote, 3 priests in the Diocese of Chimbote who were killed by the Sendero because of their activities, which were helping the poor, teaching the poor, and so forth. And one of the women I went to language school with was killed. She was the person in charge of Catholic charities in her little village and was distributing food and so forth. So martyrdom is not over, but how that affected me as an artist is that it did affect me, and I wanted to say something about it. The media that was most appropriate, or that I felt most comfortable with, was woodcuts. And there was something about cutting the wood and the very feeling of the cut line, and the media just lent itself, as far as I was concerned, to the message. It wasn't soft, it wasn't pretty, it was harsh, and it carried the message that I wanted to